Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Bishop Webster here. What a unique and remarkable week we've had. Hopefully you all had a nice, enjoyable Labor Day weekend, then labor all week as we clean up from that major windstorm. It reminded me of about 9 years ago, December of 2011, when we had that large windstorm that came through. It was the Sunday that I was supposed to be released as Elders Quorum president of this ward. Imagine my surprise when I went in to go meet with the state presidency with my counselors, and they said, actually, we need to get all of the debris out of people's yards and to the landfill, so we need you around a little longer. So I retained my calling for a little while longer, and we went out and got to work, and it was such a blessing to be able to serve then and to be able to serve this last week with so many of our neighbors and friends. Honestly, a lot of people that I have never met in the ward, in our boundaries, that I finally got a chance to. Some really great people who are so grateful for the many hours that people gave to help clean up their yard. In fact, from where I'm standing right here, I can see Paul Schmutz's front yard where he lost one of his trees into their house. And it was inspiring to watch as people came together with chainsaws and rakes and whatever they needed. A whole huge group of young men and young women came and helped. Even the missionaries joined in. It's good to see them there. In fact, one of the homes that I was most impressed with, actually, the home that we used to live in at the bottom of Horsley Hill here in the ward. I texted her just to see what had happened with those trees, because I know very well when the wind blows, you get really nervous about those trees. And she said, yeah, they're all fine, and she was headed into work. Not 20 minutes later, I asked a neighbor to check on the house, and sure enough, 2 trees had blown down. One resting on the house and the other between the 2 houses. So I sent her another text and said, looks like you got some houses or some trees on your house. I just wanted you to know. She's like, oh, okay. Looks like I'm coming home from work, and I'll have to buy a chainsaw. To her surprise, later that day, or maybe it was the next day, quite a few members of the ward had already cleared off the debris, and the trees were gone. And talking to her that afternoon, she was totally blown away by the support and the generosity of time and effort by so many people to take care of her yard. And she's like, I don't even know most of these people. Why are they helping? And it gave me an opportunity to talk with her about why we do what we do. And really, at the end of the day, this is just the kind of neighborhood we live in, the kind of people who help at a moment's notice, and when they see a need, they fill a need. So just know that the efforts that you all gave over this last week or so have made an impact in many people's lives, most especially our own, right? As we are engaged in the service of others, God blesses us with peace and with understanding to see other people's situations, to walk a mile in their shoes. Is that how the saying goes? And in some very small way, as we serve others, we gain a glimpse into how the Savior feels about us, and the capacity that he has for loving and serving us is infinite, and hence the infinite atonement which he wrought for us. And you might think it a big stretch to think, well, this is just clearing some branches off of somebody's lawn. How does this even relate to trying to become more like Christ? Anybody who is out there clearing branches and helping a neighbor could feel that difference. Also, a big shout out to all those who provided meals and other emotional comfort. As I drove by one house one night as it was getting dark, I looked over, and the homeowner was in their doorway, and there was another individual there giving somebody a hug. I have no idea the context behind it. I just knew it was beautiful. And I'm so grateful that we have such amazing people in this ward who take care of each other and who love one another. Doesn't even matter if you know them or not. really could not have done this effort. A big part of this effort goes out to a lot of love and respect out to Chris Anderson, our good friend who lives across from the Salisbury's home. What an amazing man he is, and all of his equipment and his gear and his enthusiasm and energy was infectious. And also to my second counselor, Greg Remington, who I didn't see the whole time because he was off turning on the power to the rest of the city, laboring in the trees and power lines. He's a lineman for Bountiful City Power, for those of you who don't know. But what an amazing work he and his crew did. Just really am so grateful for everything that we could see happen and the ways that our neighborhood came together. There will most certainly be other opportunities. In fact, I've already heard of a couple more homes and backyards that need a little bit more of attention. So there will be an email going out organizing another service party here in the next few days, sometime this week. So keep an eye out for that. We could certainly still use the help. As just a reminder, in a couple weeks we'll be having our sacrament meeting. We're still just the two meetings, 9 o'clock and 10:30. That'll be held at the chapel. So be looking for an email from John Rowe inviting people to RSVP to those meetings. Again, we have a limit of about 85 people who can attend those. Just a little sneak peek, as you may have seen, it may have gotten lost in the shuffle of all the other news, but this upcoming October 11th, we will begin having weekly sacrament meetings where we can meet together. The limit will be about 150 people, and there's a whole lot more details I'll be able to share as it gets closer. But for right now, I just want you to focus on and prepare for sacrament each week. Sacrament when we'll be holding it in person on at the end of this month, but then general conference the week immediately following. Prepare for that and prepare to hear from our dear prophet and others that we sustain as leaders of our church. How excited I am to hear from and learn from them. Brothers and sisters, I know this gospel is true. I know that the covenants that we've made to God and to one another, to lift one another's burdens and to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort, and those are all the covenants that we made at baptism. And again, as we consecrate our time, talents, and everything the Lord's blessed us with to build up his kingdom, to relieve the stress of another, that is a privilege that each of us carry. Again, both the covenants made in the temple and at baptism. And so thank you all for living your covenants, for striving to lift and to bless our friends and neighbors. In fact, I'll include a link here to a KSL article of a friend of mine, also the older brother of Nate Behunnen. Those of you who remember Nate, who used to live in the ward, his brother was featured in a KSL article for an act of kindness that he showed during all this craziness with the windstorm. So anyway, I love you all, brothers and sisters. Grateful to serve with you and to know you all, and be looking forward to seeing many of you soon, and we'll talk again. Have a great week.